This one's about Mike Boudet. Now, it's on Reddit, Reddit, and there's people talking about Mike being a dick and an idiot and other such things. But here's one person who decided to post that really made me want to read it. One dude said there are times you just have to disagree with Mike and move on. And this other dude typed, "This is all excellent advice. Case file is the balls. The anon host reads like a pro. It's kind of theater of the mind with excellent info and no gratuitous gore. East Area Rapist, Jonestown, Silk Road, Daniel Morcombe. That last one is a sad and awesome story. Mike never could have pulled it off." They got different people there doing it now. It's always been theater. It's turning people's turmoil into drama for entertainment. That's what theater is. It's drama. But further it says, the same guy of course, "Listen to S&S for the content and ignore Mike's narcissistic drama. Also, skip the Natalie Bollinger episode. Or listen knowing he's a selfish asshole in that episode." It's very true. That guy is a selfish asshole in that episode, but there's apparently 3 of them now. This man was supposed to take an interview from me, his friend Josh, who I've been informed in the 3rd episode, they basically just make fun of me the whole time, and call me mentally ill and make a bunch of laughs and stuff like that. But the point of this Josh feller is that I saved our screenshots between him and I. So it shows that he destroyed evidence. He destroyed that interview because Mike didn't want to get in trouble. That's how fucked up what Mike did really is. To the point that he's having the guy who was supposed to take the interview from me and give it to the police and not print anything until after they caught her killer. Well, they didn't do that. Instead, they chopped up that interview, and Mike got to put his own questions at the beginning of stuff that doesn't belong there. That interview should have been done in its entirety. But the other part is that I didn't have a safe place at that point either. So, like most occasions, my words don't come together properly. That's only part of the reason for me making videos. The other part is to show that the things that were done to me, they're somehow magically okay. But it's not okay for me to do them back. Well, I got a different point of view. I say if it's not okay for me, it's not okay for them to do either. And the police need to get involved. Problem is that between the news media and then toy stories like this, by toy stories I mean that really it's not true life, it's not true crime, it's somebody trying to make money off of playing with your heads. That's why it's a toy story. It's just a toy to play with. And the fact is, these are human lives. This is my life. This is Natalie's life. Her family's life. And people threatened many lives over episodes like this. People say, and some of the things that I've been reading, people say, "Oh, if you really want to know what happened to Natalie, you need to go to Sword and Scale." I'm like, that is the last place to look. It's the last place to get filled in or informed as well. There's a lot of stuff on there, it's just not useful. There's a reason for that. Now, you'd think that after they found the guy who did it, that the police and the courts would leave me alone. But no, they're not interested. What was done to me shouldn't be done to anyone. Now, I get that people assumed my guilt, and that magically makes it okay to do these things to me, but no. When you push somebody to that point, you don't get to play victim. You don't get to poke somebody with a stick and then go, oh, well, look, he's dangerous when he fucking bites you. No, that's not it. That's not okay. That's not acceptable. The fact that police were involved, police took part in covering for the actions of drug dealers like Ted Bollinger, and there's proof of this. Matter of fact, he had court dates, I believe, last month for illegal possession of a firearm, a loaded firearm, as well as, of course, meth possession. His daughter, Alycia, same thing. For me, I wanted to be allowed to show evidence, and I have not been allowed. But it's not just because of people like Mike Boudet. It's because police, the things that the police chose to do rather than take a report, the things the police chose, I knew that belch was going to come up almost a minute ago. It's not just Mike. It's many people. If you type my name on the internet, you just get to see the little bits and pieces that they pulled out to try to make me seem like some sort of a terrible person. I was prevented from showing evidence in court. Now, a lot of people, they say that, oh, here's a good one. Suspect arrested in teen's murder. The Adams County Sheriff's Office has made an arrest in connection with the Natalie Bollinger case. Of course, it's got my name on the very front of it. Let's see what all it says. Ah, there's a picture of me in my jail happy suit. It says I was arrested in an unrelated case. Actually, it was entirely related. I was trying to get whoever it was that killed Natalie to show up with that gun and get himself busted. Danica Garner is aware of this. This is something that she should have spoke about, and something that, had I been allowed to go to court, I could have cross-examined her on. The fact is, what these people did to me never should have been allowed to happen to anybody. By calling me mentally ill, it's okay to prevent me from making a report and threaten and assault me, correct? Huh. Well, that's not okay in my personal opinion. I believe that it's absolutely wrong to do that. I also believe that what Natalie did was absolutely wrong. When you ask somebody to do something and then you pretend they're a bad person for doing as you asked, you're a pretty screwed up person. But there's also the fact that there's so much evidence that I just literally needed an address to get. A steady address and a steady house. With the things that Ken and Leah did before Natalie died, I really needed to get a lawyer. With the things that I was going through because of Natalie and her unwillingness to come forward and tell the truth, I needed to get a lawyer against her. And I went to Miss Peach's house to get that. That's Kayla Trujillo. Now, Kayla Trujillo and I are not friends currently. Now, she's still somebody that I care about greatly. However, she needed to come forward and make a statement. And really she did, but it's not something that they'll take. She has to make a written statement, which we already knew. I've been prevented from making a written statement. Now, if I'm rushed, it's not going to go over too good. If I'm homeless and I have vigilantes after me, then it's not going to turn out so good. I needed the right to defend myself against these accusations. And that's how this whole thing ended up being such an issue. I should have been allowed to defend myself. I should have been able to go see my loved ones without being assaulted, or I should have been allowed an honest day in court. Natalie tried to give me that, sort of. And it's not her fault that Ken and Leah stole all my money. It's also not her fault that I didn't read that paperwork. It's not her fault that Officer Michael West didn't take any of my statements. Wouldn't take a statement from me. Those are things that are not Natalie's fault, but you know what? Most of those are not my fault either. A lot of people did messed up things to me because Natalie wouldn't come forward. Maddie Boa wouldn't come forward. Alycia Bollinger wouldn't come forward. And to this day, they need to. For me, not having a safe place to function, that's pretty screwed up. Having the evidence stolen by police repeatedly, that's pretty screwed up. The police in Wyoming, they not only stole evidence from me of their own wrongdoing, they sent that evidence to Colorado when that evidence didn't have anything to do with their case. That evidence has to do with the threats, harassment, and stalking that happened towards me, both before and after Natalie was killed. It also covers a lot of the stories that I've told where people want to be jackasses now and say, oh no, that's not what happened. Well, I have it in screenshots. I have it in video. I recorded it. So, there's that. With Mike Boudet, he's just an entertainer. He doesn't care whose lives he destroys. For me, I've been dealing with a lot of people who don't care whose lives are destroyed. It's just entertainment to them too. They found me on sites like the one that Mike Boudet ran, although Mike is no longer with them. Let's see where Mike is at today. I believe he started a second one. We'll see. Four months after Mike Boudet relinquished hosting duties of the true crime podcast Sword and Scale, after controversial comments he made about International Women's Day cost the podcast advertisers and the loss of its hosting company. He'll return to the show in July. Ah, woohoo. So that's June 12th, 2019 that it says that. Wow, looks like he's got some more legal issues. It says, a man has threatened legal action against him for, he claimed Mike Boudet bombarded him with 1-star reviews on Apple Podcasts. Justin Brown, the host of Obscura, made the allegations in comments to the... sounds like some of the stuff that happens on my stuff. People go through and just hit the dislike. They don't actually watch it. One of the dislikes that I got, the dude was the very first person to watch it, and it automatically had a thumbs down, and I thought to myself, well, it's probably Mike. course, it might be Lana and Amanda too. Who knows? Now, the other thing is, people were pissed off at me for calling Natalie a cunt. Huh. Meanwhile, this Mike Boudet feller seems to like that word as well. The difference between him and I is that I use that word specifically for if you get people hurt. If your actions and opinions get others hurt, then yeah, I'm gonna call you that. I've been a cunt, no doubt. I've been a hypocrite. I've been an asshole. I've given people the treatment that they gave me. And in some cases, I gave them the treatment that I received when they didn't keep their word. Not to the same extent, though, because there are certain things I'm not willing to do. I'm not going to go hunt somebody down to hurt them. That's just stupid. I don't want people doing that to me. I don't want them doing it to my loved ones. Why would I go doing it to them? I've been typing down my story a little bit at a time. Without the evidence, I can't put the times and dates on there, which are so ever important. The thing is, it was a giant mindfuck. I mean, here I was, I got somebody that I care about who's dead, and I'm having to deal with a lot of people who are actual predators. Like right here, it's Witcher 2 is the name of the profile. And in that profile, it's got a bunch of images. They're all screenshots between myself and Amy Witcher, detailing part of the situation last year and part of the situation this year when she needed help. I was up at my dad's when she let me know that she needed a babysitter because she kicked Andrew out for drug use. She typed, "I need help with the kids. I have no one to watch them. I'd let you crash on my house." I typed, "Yes, ma'am, I will be leaving for Nebraska shortly." I was in Washington State at the time, by the way. She typed, "Take your time. I got tomorrow covered. Working on Thursday morning. I'm off Friday. Kids can go to my mom's for the weekend. My ex-husband is also willing to help watch the kids." Now, you guys are going to probably get some red flags when I post this up, because that very same ex-husband, she accuses of molesting her daughter as well. So now we're going to see a couple of them. I typed, "KK will do." She typed, You truly are Superman, Sean. I'm broke as fuck and out of weed till Friday. Before I get it for harboring a fugitive, are you still in any trouble?" I typed, "I will call Nebraska," and I have to go through these one at a time because they're in a zip file. "I will call Nebraska and find out. I have warrants in Colorado over the assault by the cops, but I believe they are non-extraditable, so I won't be considered a fugitive in Nebraska. The chapel charges were dropped." But really, it says, how many are in there? Looks like quite a few. Probably about 200 screenshots, and that was me reading just 4 of them, so consider that. 163 screenshots. That details a bit of what happened last year while I was at their place. That was while I had my own place in Sydney as well for about a month and a half until I couldn't afford it. I really couldn't afford it to begin with. Believe it or not, Amy is actually the one that helped set me up with that place. And Desiree was the meth head who was staying with me, who stole all my things. Now, there's a chance that she did not steal all my things, and her crazy story about, let me see where that piece of paper is. I got the guy's name written down. Kevin McGregor of Cheyenne, Wyoming. She claimed that he's the one that stole all my things, that he came into the place and he tasered her and abducted her. She let me know that quite a bit later. I was actually helping her out because she was trying to recover from her addictions. Something I've done quite a bit. The problem is, I used to be able to help people out with that, but now, with what had happened to Natalie, it was not something that I was able to take the time to do. But I haven't really stopped helping people. I can't. It's the wrong thing to do, to just watch these things happen to others. I find that morally irresponsible. Lana said something that really struck me, and that was some bullshit about me being a martyr. She's not going to support me being a martyr. Well, really, her turning her back and pulling the bullshit that she did made it so that I don't really have a lot of choice. That's not saying that I want the attention of a martyr. Saying that somebody has to do something, even if it's drastic, to get these laws changed, to get addicts help, to get help for mothers who are in domestic assault situations so that they don't end up homeless, to make it so that the government doesn't drug the shit out of these children. And when I say government, I'm talking about government ran and funded facilities. Government ran programs, foster care, group homes, mental institutions, any part of the youth legal system, basically. But also, we need to make it so that actual predators can actually be caught. If Ted Bollinger has a protection order and he goes to Memphis, Tennessee, and people go, oh, well, he's in Memphis, Tennessee, we don't need to worry about him. Well, no, you do. You do need to worry about him. Because it's not going to take him much to get back to Colorado, have access to his victims, and do terrible things to them. That's part of the reason for locking me up. If you lock me up, then when something bad happens, like what happened to Natalie, they'll go after the person who actually did it. They won't waste a bunch of time and resources looking at me. They won't do a bunch of immoral and illegal things because they just assume that I'm guilty. This all happened because people assumed my guilt. It happened because when I cried out for help, people blew me off. I was willing to pay $20 an hour. Mind you, I get $600, or at that point in time, I got about $600 a month in disability. And I was willing to spend $20 an hour to get somebody to help me because what was going on with Natalie was that fucked up. After going to Miss Peaches 3 times prior, by the time I finally went to Miss Peaches for help, I was really glad. And I was willing to pay her that $20 an hour too. But I didn't tell her that. We didn't actually get that far. She had back surgery, and then we were going to work on it after her back surgery. Well, that didn't work out so good, as y'all can tell. I never got to take Natalie to court. I never got to take Ken and Leah to court. And the things that Maddie Boa and Alycia Bollinger did, they got away with scot-free. That's not okay. You don't destroy a man's life. That's not acceptable. If you're going to do that, do it to somebody who actually did those things. If you're going to destroy a man's life, destroy Ted Bollinger's. But not just Ted's. I got at least 8 of her family members who were involved in harassing me. And I've got many of her friends who took part in harassing me. You're damn right I'm gonna speak out. Oh, Sean, you're terrible for showing people secrets. Fuck you. I'm not a terrible person for showing the truth. I'm not a terrible person for saving the truth. And just because people have gone out of their way to prevent me from being able to show the truth and to prevent me from keeping the evidence and to keep me from being able to speak in court, or in some cases even show up to court, well, that's not acceptable either, and I'm gonna say something about it. I'm gonna do something about it. We need actual predators like Rasputin Adams, aka Thor, aka Derek Apodaca, and Ted Bollinger, and Tim Beeson, and Michael Albert. We need to get these predators off the streets. We need to make it so these predators can't jump across multiple jurisdictions and get away with it. But at the same time, we also need to ensure that people aren't crucified by the media, especially fake media like Mike Boudet. And although there have been several people who get pissed off at me because I mispronounce his name, I don't care. I don't care if people want to get pissed off about that. There's far worse things going on in this world. Like people getting shot in the head. Disabled people being threatened, harassed, and assaulted. Just because people don't want to understand their disabilities. And then others who do understand those disabilities go out of their way to exploit them. What the police did was wrong. That's straight up a fact. What Mike Boudet was wrong, and that's a fact. What the Bollingers did is wrong, and that's a fact. The stuff here from Amy Witcher. Hopefully it can be used to ensure that Andrew Witcher is not capable of doing the things that he did to anyone else ever again.